Okay, it's going right there. Let's just make sure YouTube is doing what it needs to do.
Yep. All right.
All right. Let's live. So, all right, y'all. It's 4 o'clock. We want to welcome y'all to the Discovery Within podcast, where we explore the depths of self discovery and personal growth. I'm your host, Tiarra Denise.
And I am your co host, LJ the Peacemaker. And today, on episode 9, we are going to be uncovering purpose because it's all within you. And so we're super excited because we're on purpose. This is part of our purpose to be here with you and really just sharing who we are and sharing some of these insights. So, super exciting. And also to just say that this is episode 9. Ain't that incredible, Tiara?
Yeah. Oh,
Like
now we almost
every time I'm like, whoa, another episode in.
yeah, we almost at episode 10. That's something to celebrate.
Right.
Yeah, but we get started.
Exactly.
I just want to ask that if you joining us live or you're gonna catch the playback, make sure you hit the like button. And if you aren't already, go ahead and subscribe to our channel and join the conversation with us. If you're catching the playback, leave a comment. Let us know if anything that we talk about today resonates with you, or if you just have any topics that you want us to discuss, put them in the comment section. Let us know that you're here, and let's get into it, y'all. So
Absolutely. Yes.
today's topic: uncovering your purpose. It's the inside job. I think the topic of purpose is a big one. I know, like for me, ever since we even came up with the next episode to talk about purpose, I just been seeing other people doing different videos on purpose and stuff, and I'm like, yep, we in alignment. It's our time. So for me, when I think about purpose, I usually think about you know how society, is set up for us, and when we're kids and we become young adults and stuff like that, the world tells you, you gotta go to school, get a good job, go to college, or be a business owner and stuff like that. Sometimes when most of us think of purpose, we think of something that's outside of us. We think it's something that's big and huge that we have to be doing because that's what's been taught to us. So I found like on my path when it came to purpose, that it was a hard thing for me because it took years for me to see like what mine is. Um and it took a minute for me to I don't even think like when it comes to purpose, there's a conclusion. There isn't just one thing that you should do. Because for me, when I started my self-discovery journey, of course I was doing it, the regular way how they told us to do it, go to school. By the time you graduate, you need to know what you want to do with your life. Are you going to college? What you going to college for? So I know like for me, coming out of high school, I came out as a certified nursing assistant. So I was working in the healthcare field. I knew I wanted to be a nurse. So I'm thinking, okay, that's my purpose. I'm here to be a nurse. I love to care for people. That comes natural for me. So that's my purpose. Only to get into nursing school, doing my clinicals, going back and forth, um, flunking, getting back in the program, flunking again, just to see that, you know what? I don't really think this is my purpose. I'm like, I feel like there's so much more. And when I had got to that point, I kind of felt like a failure because I'm like, I came this far. I did everything how everybody told me to do, how my teachers told me to do it, how my mama told me to do it. I went to school and stuff, but I'm like, something within me just felt like, this isn't it. And so that's when
Right.
I started asking myself, like, what is my purpose? Because we hear people talk about purpose so much. So I just started asking myself, like, what is my purpose? And I would get so frustrated when I would ask it because it's like, man, I feel like I ain't amounting to nothing. I don't went all through nursing school. I don't racked up debt. only not to finish and go through with it, I felt scammed. And so during that time, like afterwards, when I was done with school, I walked away from working as a certified nursing assistant as well because I was feeling like this is not it. Like I don't feel like if this is my purpose, this can't be it because surely you should be fulfilled with whatever that you're doing. And for me, the excitement wasn't there. I just felt like a robot. I was just doing something because that's what I was told to do. Like it was something I'm supposed to be doing. And so that's when I really delved deep into my self-discovery journey. And for me, I had to learn that when it comes to purpose, sometimes we can look for like the meaning of what purpose is to us, so much so to the point that we forget to just live and be. And I learned that on
Right.
my as I just allowed life to be what it is and continue to keep moving and keep striving, that I would eventually arrive to where I needed to be. But then I also learned that it's not about a destination. It's not about just doing one certain thing that's just huge and grand and extreme. Like there's purpose in a lot of things, and I feel like the defining purpose, number one, you have to define that for yourself. But I will honestly say that purpose is never ending. So that's been my
Right.
experience with it so far.
I mean, I definitely agree. I know, like, one of the things you said that it was like you really just had to be yourself, and I think that that's the part that's missing from all the things that we hear about purpose is like the real true purpose in this life is for us to be 100% our authentic self, whatever that means. And the world, our upbringing, society will have us think that we're supposed to be like this, we're supposed to be like that. So that's why we oftentimes, when thinking about purpose, feel so lost because we don't even know who our true authentic selves are. And it's only by going within and going on this journey of self discovery that you begin to uncover your truth, who you really are, what you really like, what you really want to be pursuing, and the direction that you want to go in. So it's like we often think that we got to go out into the world and discover our purpose, but really we got to go in and uncover it because you were born with the purpose. The purpose is inherently part of your makeup. You know what I mean? You're not separated from your purpose. We're just, I guess, blinded to it because there's so many other things being put in front of our face. We think it's about, okay, you gotta go get the good job, you gotta go do this. Maybe your purpose is to be an artist. You know what I mean? So it's like it's so personal and individual that we really have to be willing to do the work and go within so that we can find our true purpose, because nobody can tell you what your purpose is. You know what
Right.
I mean? And granted, sometimes we get direction from different places, maybe different things inspire us, but ultimately, this is a very, very individual path. We have to figure it out for ourselves. And I know for myself, I've been in stages of my life where I had a good job, supposedly. That's what everybody said. And I'm like, okay, that's cool, but why do I feel like my spirit's dying? You know what I mean? It's like, wait a
Exactly.
second, this is not feeling too good. So like really being able to listen to ourselves and identify what feels good for us, what it is that we actually feel connected to. And so that took me a long time to really step more fully into my purpose. I've always known I like to connect with people. I like to uplift, encourage, and inspire people. But it took me a very long time to fully step into it where I'm like, all right, this is what I'm going to do as a lifestyle, as a career, as, just part of who I am. Because all external factors were making me think that that's not a job. You can't do that. What are you doing? Encouraging people? No, no, no. That doesn't make money. And it's like, who says that? Like, why not? You know what I mean? Why not? And I had to go through a lot of barriers in myself and in my mind and release these things that I was taught, because it's like, why can't it be a job if I'm providing a valuable service? And so through going within, it allowed me to recognize my value. Yeah, I'm bringing value. This is extremely valuable, helping people to see beyond, their limiting beliefs and helping them to walk their path and step more fully into their own purpose and accept their truth. That's extremely valuable. So I think it's so important for us to recognize that our purpose is very personal, it's very individual, and it's for us to accept it above anything else that anybody is telling us, because you were created for that purpose. So God is going to support you into making it real. You know what I mean? As long as we're willing to commit and to keep going within, because that is part of our truth. So we've all got a purpose.
That's right. So it's like when you said we were all born with purpose. And that's true because it's like everybody is different. Everybody has their own unique sets of talents and gifts and stuff. And like as you're a child and you're growing up in the world, it's like you said, you uncover these things about yourself so that you can find like what your purpose is, because we're not all going to be doing the same thing. And what purpose is to someone else may not be what purpose is to you. So I think that like with society and stuff, like when we're taught that, purpose has something to do with something external to us, like our career choice, or how much money we have, or just something big on a large scale where everything is all out there in the open, we're making big moves and stuff, when you can find purpose in the most simplest and mundane things in life. And sometimes like when we get caught up in like the thing of purpose where we feel like, oh, well, I'm not doing this, my life isn't here, I haven't attained this, we feel like we're not living in our purpose. And I know for me, there was times where I felt stuck. And in those moments, like that, it was very frustrating because it's like you feel like your life isn't amounting to nothing. At least that's how it felt for me. But it's like as you go on, like it's like you said, only you can define what that is for you. You will have to turn out all that outside noise, the voices and everybody else and their opinions on telling you what living in your purpose is, because only you know on a soul level what your purpose is going to be for you, and can't nobody uncover that for you but you. There's another thing when you was talking that I had thought about, like us as coaches, when we make our content and stuff, and I know you've gone through this when like you're putting your content out and you're not really getting the traction or the views or people really engaging like you want to, or clients and stuff aren't coming the way that you want it to. And you just feel like, well, what am I doing this for? Like, if I'm not receiving anything, I'm not receiving anything tangible and anything. I'm not getting no clients. I'm not, getting nobody going on my website and stuff like that. That'll kind of like discourage us from, moving on our path, because we think that when it comes to purpose, we have to see something physical or tangible for it to actually be purposeful, when it doesn't have to be that way. Because I know for me, when I was putting out my content and stuff, and I wasn't getting the views and stuff or the engagement that I wanted, like I felt like, man, what am I really doing this for? It's like I'm putting my all into this. It's like ain't nobody receiving it, ain't nobody saying nothing, only for it to be like a random day where someone may message me or comment or see me in public and be like, you know what? Thank you for putting out the messages that you put out. You just don't know it. Some days, like your messages are the only thing that keeps me going. And then just to hear that from someone else,
Right.
that makes me feel accomplished. That makes me feel fulfilled. And for me, that's much bigger than ever receiving like any monetary investment or anything, because that those messages, or what I thought I wasn't really helping anybody, I was helping someone. But sometimes you got to know that when you're doing things, everything isn't always going to be on a big scale for everybody to see. Like when you're doing, like when we put our messages out and we're doing that content is going to reach the people that is going to reach. Even if it's just one person, it could be two people. That could be just for those two people. And once they receive it, it's like mission accomplished. Keep going.
Right.
There's so much fulfillment in that, because while you feeling like you didn't have no purpose at all, now this is proof that there's purpose in what you're doing. And it's not always about having that instant gratification or seeing something show up immediately. It's like, it's like with anything. Just think about a baker, a chef or something. As they're baking these cakes and stuff, it's a process. It takes
Of course.
time, steps and stuff like that. You ain't gonna get to an end result right away. You have to take your time. You gotta nurture everything that you're doing before you see something. But it's like not focusing so much on an end result or what am I gonna receive from this. But just having that knowing of why you're doing it and that intent behind it, that's purpose in itself.
Absolutely. That, I mean, that's so powerful because that's exactly right. It's like purpose, when we're doing something on purpose and with purpose, then we're in alignment with purpose. Like, period. You know what I mean? So it's like really recognizing that the everyday tasks that you have to do, those are leading you to your purpose as you approach them with a sense of purpose. So it's like, I have children. I'm taking care of my kids. I'm cooking. I'm cleaning. I'm doing the activities of life. And as I do them with a sense of responsibility and duty, that helps to align me more further with my purpose because I'm more certain of who I am, what my intentions are. Okay, I'm responsible. I feel like I'm a good mother. I feel like I'm keeping my house in order the way that I want it to be. And that sense of clarity that comes from that is what leads to your purpose. Because
Mm-hmm.
as we're standing around feeling so confused or like I don't know what's my purpose, or as we're approaching things without this sense of intention and not doing things on purpose, then we will not align with our purpose because we're not engaging in purpose. And so it's like, even here, we come on here on purpose, like we're intentionally turning on the live. We're intentionally preparing what we'd like to talk about. That's all on purpose. And as we do that, then we could be assured that the purpose that we're coming on here with will be fulfilled because we're clear on what the purpose is. You know what I mean? So it's like as we start doing things on purpose, that's how you gradually get into alignment with your purpose. Be clear about what you're doing in the moment, do it with intention and with a sense of purpose. So it's like as we do anything, we can approach it with a sense of excellence. That's a
Mm-hmm.
purpose. I'm going to do this to the best of my ability. It may not seem important to others, but it's something that I'm responsible for, so let me approach it with a sense of excellence and be on purpose and fully focused and committed. And these are aspects of what it means to be on purpose, really beginning to cultivate this character of who you want to be, which is all part of this self discovery journey. You being able to define for yourself, who am I? Who do I want to be? What do I like? How do I handle the everyday responsibilities of life? Because those things that are right in front of you are all part of your purpose, whether you recognize it or not, or else they wouldn't be right there in front of you. Like, it's there for a reason. And it's for us to recognize that the real purpose is to handle what is at hand. And as you handle the task that is at hand, it's leading you on this path to your bigger purpose. The purpose is revealed step by step, moment by moment, day by day. And we oftentimes get so overwhelmed because we like, oh, what's my big purpose? And we want to know the purpose for our whole life. And it's like, you don't even know the purpose for tomorrow half of the time. How you going to know, for your whole life? That's too
Yep.
big. It's overwhelming. And there's no need for that because that's not the way that God reveals stuff to us. You know what I mean? That's not how it works. We learn moment by moment, day by day about ourselves as we begin to uncover some of the things that we've picked up along the way that are not actually who we are. Because there's so many things, so many characteristics, so many habits and behaviors that we picked up along the way. And we think, oh, I'm just like that. Meanwhile, that's not even who you are. You just do that because that's what was shown to you. So you think you should be doing that. And, a lot of times that's part of what's blocking our purpose because we're not even moving in truth. We think it's the truth, but really it's not part of our truth.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like purpose and being your whole true self go hand in hand.
Yeah, that's powerful that you say that because that's the conclusion that I had came to on my own personal journey when I decided to, leave school and stuff. Because it's like once you have that moment to really go within yourself and get by yourself and just ask yourself questions and come up with your own conclusions instead of just, being sitting in the frustration and just taking a step back. It took me having that time to sit out when I wasn't in school anymore to figure it out. And then I realized, like, dang, I really wasn't even living in my truth. I wasn't even doing this stuff for me. I was just doing this because this is what my teachers told me to do. This is what my parents told me to do. And they were banking on this. They wanted me to be this nurse and all this. And it's like, yes, I love helping people, but it didn't necessarily have to be in doing nursing. But
Right.
then I also learned that, how some of us feel like as we go on in life, we getting older and stuff, we feel like we waste a lot of time and energy on people, places, and things. Like we'll look back and say, oh, I would have been way farther than I am now if I hadn't have done this. But it's like, no, you were doing what you needed to do at time. Because even in those things where you feel like it didn't serve any purpose, there was purpose in that. Because one thing I've learned is that purpose, certain things lead you to a purpose and then
Yeah.
something else. Purpose leads to purpose. So what the things that we think were a waste of time, it wasn't a waste, especially if you learn something, you grew from whatever it is that you went through. Because I feel like all that time, like, because I was one that used to say, man, I spent all them years in school, I could have been doing this and doing that, and it makes you feel like you missed out on something when in fact you aren't missing out on anything. Those moments where you felt like you was wasting time, that was actually building you up, that was building your character, that was growing you. Because sometimes we can get so frustrated because we feel like we ain't living in our purpose, that it's like, are you ready for it?
Mm.
You have to be ready to receive and walk through that door of purpose instead of just walking in it so blindly. Because one thing about it, on the self-discovery journey, especially when you're finding your purpose as you move along, like that path is so uncertain. It's not something that's just
I'm like, yeah.
asking and it's so direct. No, you find it's like you said, it's in the title. You uncover it as you go on about your life. And so as I look back now, I'm looking at, well, what did I learn when I was in nursing school? So I looked at all the things and skills that I acquired in there. I'm like, oh, okay. I needed that to be able to do this. So it wasn't a waste. There's no such, well, for me at least, there's no such thing as wasting time, especially if you learn something or you acquired some type of skill from whatever it is that you went through. But even then, like some of us may find ourselves going through different type of jobs or whatever, different relationships, thinking that, we have to find our purpose in that. But even with that, there's no time wasted. Like I said, you're gonna find purpose in anything that you do. Because once I left my 9 to 5 and quit school, I pursued entrepreneurship. I walked into that, didn't have a clue what I was doing. It was new. Once again, it's like you in the dark and you got a flashlight and you just trying to find your way. I'm uncovering who I am at this point because now I put down what I thought that I should be doing, and I'm going to discover what it is that I should be doing for myself, And then I learned that it's okay to pick up some things and put some things down because this led me being in nursing school led me to go over here to entrepreneurship. Now being into entrepreneurship, I started in the financial industry. I ain't have no type of financial experience or anything. Never worked in finance. So it's like I'm stepping into new territory. But there were things that I acquired while being in that industry. I met some awesome mentors, coaches who showed me how to be a leader, showed me how to have like the qualities of a leader, how to run certain systems and stuff like that. And even with that, I'm like, okay, I'm learning some things. I'm growing. I see my growth, but I'm not quite sure that this is it. But even with that, I that was purpose in that I needed to be at this place during this time in my life because we can be so quick to be trying to rush things like, oh, life would just be so good and if I just do this and be thinking like I'm finally living in my purpose. And it's like it's not a destination. It's
Right.
really not, because you could be living in your purpose, doing the things that you love, but that can also open you up to many other doors. So if you feeling like, oh, I don't waste the time, or I feel like I should be further, no, just take a look at where you are currently in, and take a look at your past and see how far you've come. What did you learn? What did you acquire over time? And then you will see that, man, I was living on, I was in purpose this whole time.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, it's so interesting how, you were really just describing your journey, because we never really know where we are in proximity to, like, I guess, the whole of our life. You know what I mean? Nobody knows how long they're going to live. You don't know if you went at the halfway point, if you still got much longer to go. So it's like, I just assume that I'm doing great. I'm right where I'm supposed to be. You know what I mean? Because ultimately it's always an assumption. You're always just kind of guessing. Oh, I'm behind. Oh, you don't know where you at. So why not set our minds on the fact that, yeah, I am on purpose. And the thing is, as we begin to, like, declare these things and cultivate that belief in ourselves, then it becomes more real for us. Everything I do is on purpose. And maybe, that may not necessarily be true, but why can't it be the way that I'm perceiving everything?
Mhm.
And so, I mean, for myself, I show up, I speak, I learn things, I share them, and I work with clients, and I get positive feedback. People will be like, "Oh, wow, that was great," or "Oh, you're so this," or whatever the feedback is, and it's wonderful. To God be the glory. I'm grateful to hear it, because it encourages me to keep going. But ultimately, I be looking in awe, like I'm like amazed and mesmerized by it, because I'm like, "Wow, that's what it looks like from that side." Because I'm just over here making stuff up, like, and not that I'm making up the teachings. You know what I mean? Those I'm actually learning through life. But I mean, as the way I'm presenting, the way I'm stepping out, new things I try to do, you know what I mean? Even this podcast, it's like we just made this up. We made up the idea of we have a podcast now. And then we actually went and implemented it. It wasn't like, oh, we went to podcast school. You know what I'm saying? So it's like being willing to really take the step to see if what's right for you, if this is the right direction. And that's how you know if you're on purpose or not, because either it feels good or it doesn't. But
Mhm.
you will never uncover your purpose if you don't have the courage to really step out.
Yep.
And that's really just it, because we each have an inner guidance system. Our intuition, our spirits are leading us in a certain direction. And as if you don't have the courage to take that first step in that direction, then you won't ever know what lies behind it. And it takes the courage to take the first step so that you get the courage to take the next step. And each
Mhm.
step is by courage, but ultimately it's like we're just walking blind. You don't know what lies
Yeah.
beyond. You know what I mean? But the exciting part is you don't know whether or not the next step is that big one. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like you just got to keep going and trusting that each step is on purpose, that there's this divine plan that's working out and it's leading you to where you're supposed to be as you focus your mind on that. Because ultimately, your purpose is in front of you, it's not behind you. So
Yep.
you keep staring back there about all the time you wasted, all the things you didn't do, shoulda, coulda, woulda, this, that, and that. You're missing your purpose because it's in front of you. So it's like if
Mhm.
you just turn your head this way and look straight, it will align you with your purpose ultimately, because it's in front of you and it's literally in front of you, meaning the tasks at hand. Whatever is in front of you to be done, if you do it with purpose, then it will begin to lead you more fully into your purpose. So it's so important for us to understand that, like, the energy that we're giving off in any given moment is what's going to align us with whatever it is that we're looking for. So align with what you're looking for. You want to find your purpose, then do things with purpose.
Yep.
Schedule your time. Get a planner. You know what I mean? Start making some real intentional daily tasks. That's moving with purpose. As you
Mhm.
move with purpose, then you're starting to vibrate on the frequency of purpose, and then it will continue to lead you into clearer and clearer understandings of what your true ultimate purpose is. And that's the thing. It's like we want something, but we're not even doing the smallest part that we can do right now. So
Yep.
it's like, if I want to be healthy and I'm sitting there watching other people be healthy and, eat well and exercise, and I'm over here being lazy eating chips, it's like I'm not even taking the first step. You know what I mean? And it
Yep.
doesn't mean I got to go start exercising immediately, but maybe I can just make a plan. You know what? Maybe tomorrow I'll go for a walk. Something. It's really about, we have to begin immediately taking some kind of action with clear intention, because ultimately purpose is just that, doing
Mhm.
things with a clear intention. You have a
Mhm.
desired result and you're taking the actions that lead in that direction. And so we don't have to overwhelm ourselves by thinking of our whole life's purpose. Because I mean, for myself, I feel like I want to change the world. I want to impact as many people as possible, global, like all these big things. But if I focus too hard on that, then I'll feel like I'm never going to get there, because how am I going to get there? Like, I don't know. And I'm not
Yep.
meant to know, because I'm not at that step. Right now, the step I'm at is sitting here with Tiarra Denise on the Discovery Within podcast. So, like, this is the step, and I got to show up here to the best of my ability so that it leads me to the next step. Because ultimately, if we came on here, we were low energy, we were just like, yeah, whatever, haven't been doing the necessary work, like, where would this go? Nowhere. You
Yep.
know what I mean? But we're showing up here, we're putting our whole heart into it, we're showing up with purpose. And the purpose is a good one, to provide value to people. We want to impact people's lives and help you to stay encouraged, motivated, and get some insights on ways that you can pursue your goals and become everything that you want to be the hero of your own story ultimately. And so with that, we're very clear what we're doing here. So therefore, it's in alignment with our purpose, because that's the purpose. I just told you the purpose. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? So it's like, whether one person watches, whether nobody watches, whether 500 people watch, we're still on purpose. We're clear about it. And it's like, it's about getting that clear about what you're doing. It don't got to be what the next 10 steps are. What are you doing right now? Are you clear on that? And are you doing it with purpose? If not, then get clear on it and do it with purpose, because then you will begin to be on purpose and you will know it. Like, nobody be
Mhm.
able to tell you you're not on purpose.
Exactly. Exactly. See, I think the most important thing that you mentioned is just being in the now, living in the right now, because we get so caught up, because like we get way ahead of ourselves. We looking at what's not currently happening right now in our circumstances. Oh, I'm not there. I'm not there. That's because you're looking too far ahead. What can you do right now? Because the future doesn't exist. Your purpose won't exist if you're not even focusing on the task or whatever it is that you have right there in front of you. And sometimes we miss out on the things that are in front of us because we're too far in our head, or we're thinking about our future, or this is what it should look like. I should be doing this. But it's like you ain't making no steps. You too in your head. You're not even making no type of move. You have to be proactive, because it's not about knowing all the steps, because living in your purpose requires you to walk in the unknown. It is going to require that you have courage to be uncertain about some things. It's like you said, you show up anyway. It's not about the results of anything. We know what we're doing it for. What are you doing for? What's your intentions behind what you're doing? And I feel like if we focus on that, on what we could be doing right now, then that could lead us to something, because you just don't know by living in the now what type of creativity or idea may be sparked just by you focusing on what's right there in front of you versus what's going on outside of you, what hasn't happened yet. Because when you put all that attention right here into now, then you'll see things start to come into fruition. You'll be able to keep going. And now that you'll be so involved in what's going on right now. Because like we said, we right here right now. We're not thinking about what we gonna do afterwards, what we gotta do next week. We got a task right now. We have a purpose right now. We here to serve value, and we not worried about who's listening, who's going to get this information, whether they get it tomorrow or a year from now. We've done what we supposed to been did. We serving our purpose. We put it out there, and
Right.
so just by doing that, it'll reach who it's supposed to reach. And I think that for us to just focus on that and not get so caught up is like, is anybody listening to me? Like, I ain't got no results or anything. It's like, no, you got to keep going because it's a journey. And you don't
Mm-hmm.
focus on like the destination solely. Because one thing about it, you'll have purpose in this one day, and this purpose right here will lead to something else. And I think about, how people, may job shame people who, let's say, like for instance, works in a fast food restaurant. Because in society, they tell us, oh, you need to dream big. Don't settle for this. Don't settle for a 9 to 5. But it's like even a 9 to 5 worker, they're living in purpose too. Because you got to think about it. You may be looking down upon this person that's at the window that you're exchanging your money with, or the person that's on the grill. But they serve a bigger purpose too, because if you're coming through that line, those people are there to serve you and make sure that you get what you want when you pull up to that window and you order your food. That what that person is doing for their living, they could get so much fulfillment in what they're doing. But a person that's actually living in that purpose, they're not focused on what the next person's purpose is, because everybody serves a purpose on this earth. Even the fast food workers, it doesn't matter what you're doing. Everybody has purpose. It's not this thing about, oh, if I'm doing more than you, or I'm doing better, or I'm making a certain income, then I'm living in my purpose. No, it's much deeper than that. Just think about it. Even like a homeless person, they're on the street. Instead of like looking down upon them, like, oh, they could have been doing this, they could have been, they used to do this, or they could be this place in their life. That homeless person could deliver you a message that may inspire you to want to keep going on your journey. That's how
Yeah.
life works. It happens spontaneously. Everything and everyone serves its purpose. Even a tree just sitting there still. Purpose. It's not one thing on this earth that doesn't have purpose. So I think when we look at things from that lens, it'll kind of help alleviate that pressure to feel like we always got to be doing something big and extreme instead of like, just being sometimes. Sometimes just sitting still, being with yourself, meditating or whatever, relaxing, whatever. That's purpose. It's purpose in everything that you do, and nothing that you do has been in vain. Even the things you felt like you wasted your time and energy on, the people that you were around or whatever. Because I know when I was in the financial industry, I felt a certain type of way about the environment that I was in. And then it's like me. I pick stuff up, I put it down, I keep it pushing. I used to feel like, oh, I'm just doing something, like, man, what is my purpose? But then I had to realize that there was purpose in everything, because everywhere I went, whether I stayed long or not, I got something from it. And I took that along with me on my path. So it's like, as you're going, whether you start something or you finish it or not, you're picking up these things as you go, and you're learning stuff, and you're receiving things, and you're taking stuff in to take with you along your journey as you keep uncovering different things about yourself and what your purpose, and all those things will keep continuing to lead you to more purpose as long
Yeah.
as you on this earth.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that is very, very true. And I mean, it's like you said, there's no accidents, there's no coincidences. Everything is on purpose. There's a divine plan going on, and we're not necessarily privy to the whole thing, but we can align with it as we accept that everything's happening for a purpose. You know what I mean? People say all the time, oh, I guess everything happens for a reason. No, don't just say it. Know it. It's true. It's real. And as you do that, then it'll allow you to accept that, okay, what's happening to me is on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Because if everything's happening for a purpose, then everything I'm doing is for a purpose, whether I understand the purpose, whether I understood it in the past, but it allows you to align with that and really acknowledging that every interaction you come in across is on purpose. Every person that you meet, everything that you see, the thoughts that are crossing your mind, those are happening on purpose to lead you in a certain direction. And the real question is, are you taking the cues? Are you paying attention? Are you following the leading? Because oftentimes we're so distracted looking for like this big magical thing to fall on us that we're not paying attention to the little clues, the little nudges, the little intuition that is leading us in a certain direction, which is all leading to the path of our purpose. And I mean, I know throughout my whole life, it's like I've done many jobs. I worked the 9 to 5. I was making clothing at one point. I worked at Walmart. I was an assistant cook in a Head Start program. Like, I've done many jobs and I felt like crap in most of them. But ultimately, at this point, I appreciate all of it because I recognize every part of that was a part of what's made me who I am right now. So I see that at the time I didn't necessarily understand how it was part of my purpose, but looking back, I recognize it was all part of my purpose. It was all this organized system of guidance that brought me here. Otherwise, I wouldn't be this person. And I love me. So I'm like, oh, okay, now I get it. I get it. I got to embrace everything that's happening as part of the journey. And so that's part of why we're sharing this, because we want you to be able to embrace that this everything happening is part of the journey. It's bringing you to the fulfillment of your true purpose. And as you accept that, then you start feeling like, oh yeah, I am on purpose. Then you start looking around a little bit more alert because you like, oh wait, what's happening next? Let me see what I'm going to uncover today. What am I going to learn about myself? And through each experience, you start really recognizing, wow, that taught me that I don't like it when people do that to me, or I don't like going to this place, or maybe I want to try this new path. And it's like, as we embrace the purpose, that this overall purpose that exists, we begin to tap into what our individual purpose is, because everybody has a purpose, but there too is a purpose for humanity, and we're all a part of it. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like there's this big purpose, then there's your personal purpose, and it's just all this incredible cosmic energy that's all intertwined. And it's like when we really look at it like that, I feel like it's an honor and a privilege. What, I get to be a part of the divine design. Like, man, I'm important, but not for us to think too highly of ourselves, because it's like, yeah, we're important, but you ain't that important that everybody else got to care about your purpose. You know what I mean? It's for you to care about it first, and then you begin to see purpose in all things. And it's interesting because I know I'll have interactions with people and they'll be like, wow, this is so interesting. I was thinking about that, and now here you are talking about it. And it's like, I get a kick out of it because I'm like, of course it's on purpose. Like, everything I do is on purpose. And it's not because of me, it's because I've
Mm-hmm.
tapped into purpose. I know everything is on purpose. So therefore, I don't have to try to be on purpose. In the past, I did try to be on purpose because it's like I had to step out of not being on purpose and step into purpose. But you get to a place where you realize you are just a part of the purpose. You get to just be. And that's
Yeah.
what it's about. Like you mentioned, being in this present moment. The present moment is all we have. When you are fully invested in the present moment, then you are on purpose, because the past is gone, the future has not yet come. And all you have is right now to create whatever it is that you desire to come next. So as you're fully invested in the right here, right now, then you're on purpose. Whether
Mm-hmm.
that be washing the dishes, working at McDonald's, whatever it is, whatever you're doing, do it to the best of your ability with a spirit of excellence on it. And that is you being on purpose, and only God knows what that's going to bring. You know what I mean? Because God is watching us and people are watching us. Sometimes you don't even know people see you, and like you mentioned too, like sometimes we don't know who's watching. And then
Yep.
all of a sudden, that one day you hear somebody say, man, you really helped me through. Without what you said, I don't know what I would have done. And it's like, wow, it blows you away because you like, oh, snap, look how profound that impact was just because I showed up. So it's like, yeah, we have to do things with purpose, knowing that it's all for a purpose. and we get to determine what the purpose is that we're pursuing. What do you really want? Get clear on that and start moving towards it with purpose in the present moment, in a gradual step-by-step process, because that's how our purpose is uncovered, step by step and gradually. But we got to take the first step, and it does require courage, but that's the only way the second step gets revealed. You know what I mean? And the third step, and so on and so forth. So it's all inside of us.
Yeah. So I think like there's a common misconception, like when it comes to purpose, that everything has to be roses and you have to enjoy what you're doing and be fulfilled. But in fact, it's not gonna always be like that. Because you gotta think about it. Like life itself isn't done in one certain way. You're gonna have those days where everything is flourishing, and then you're gonna have them days where stuff just feels like it's stagnant. But it's like you said, you gotta take those gradual steps. And something that I had to learn was that slow motion is better than no motion. So on those days or those seasons where you feel like stuff isn't really moving as fast as you want it to, or you're not really seeing the results that you want to see, it's like, no, you got to keep moving because through the motion, that's when you'll find and uncover more and more about yourself. And then along the way, it's like you said, you'll have those reminders that you'll get from people outside yourself to help you to keep going. But it's not gonna always be like you just so excited and you're just having like this moment of fulfillment all the time. You're gonna have those moments where you just feel like, I'm not really getting nothing out of this. But it's like you have to have that courage to keep going because even in those moments, stuff slows down for a reason. It's a purpose. Life moves fast sometimes, sometimes it moves slow, sometimes it moves in cycles, and sometimes you just gotta flow with it. So with life itself, knowing that each moment all serves a purpose, even when you feel like it's not, even when you feel like you ain't even really giving much to the world because like you said you want to save the world and stuff but it actually starts with you. So it's like in those moments where you feel like you ain't really putting out, you ain't out here inspiring nobody, it's like, well, maybe that's the time for you to explore yourself even more because sometimes you just need a break for yourself. Sometimes you got to step back from trying to be the savior and save the world and stuff because it's like sometimes you can get so carried away with that because we've been taught that our purpose is tied to people, places, and things outside of us, when really it's about the inner world. So
Mm-hmm.
how do you feel about yourself and stuff? Are you tapping in with yourself? So in those times where things ain't moving, that's the time for you to tap into yourself. And that itself serves purpose because you have to nurture yourself, you have to fuel yourself, you have to take care of yourself in order to live a purposeful life. Because if not, you just gonna be doing stuff just to be doing it. Like you really have no purpose. You don't have no fulfillment. You don't have no direction of what you're doing. But when you're living in your purpose, just about everything you do, it has purpose,
Right.
even in your day to day life. Because you may have plans to, do something one day, and then something happens to where everything that you plan gets shattered, and you have to take a whole different direction. And you thinking, man, that wasn't a part of the plan. Like, no, the plan went as it should have. Sometimes you gotta take a detour because sometimes this will be the better route. Say like for instance, it's like down to the simplest things. You could be on a trip somewhere and you gotta be somewhere by a certain time. There could be a car accident or something ahead and you didn't know nothing about it. Now traffic is backed up. But another opportunity is presented to where you get to detour and you can still get to where you want. It's just you gotta take a whole different direction. But it served its purpose because if you took this way, something could have happened to you going down this road. So let's go this route instead to keep you safe so that you'll get to where you need to go. So it's not always looking at the little hiccups that we have in life because you gonna have them.
Right.
They all serve a purpose. Nothing is in vain. Like we gotta stop looking at things as if it's bad or we're down and out. And then when it comes to that, just being mindful of the things that we speaking and stuff while we're uncovering our purpose and stuff. Because everything leads you to your next step. It's just you gotta keep moving. Put one
Mm-hmm.
foot in front of the other and keep going.
Right. Right. It's definitely important for us to know that we're intended to keep going and that we can always keep going. So that don't mean we're going to feel like it all the time, and I think that that's one of the biggest misconceptions that we need to do away with, that there's some sort of circumstance or some person's life that exists that's not doesn't have problems, doesn't have pain, doesn't have some suffering, no. To be a human on earth, it's hard. Like, it's hard.
Mhm.
It hurts sometimes. Sometimes it feels good. Sometimes it feels horrible. Sometimes you're happy. Sometimes you're sad. Sometimes it's raining. Sometimes it's sunny. That's just how life is. So it's
Mhm.
like we have to accept that and know that when those conditions exist, when I don't feel so great, it don't mean I'm off purpose. If anything, having purpose is what will carry you through because it gives you something to hold on to. You know what I mean? So it's like some days I don't feel like, putting out content or giving a positive word, but I know my purpose is to do that. So some days I'll just push through and I'm like, no, I'm not letting nothing stop me from my purpose. And other days I'll realize, okay, if I want to really continue to inspire people, I really need to rest today because I'm not going to show up the way I want tomorrow. But it's like being on purpose is what gives us something to carry us through the rough times. And a lot of times why the rough times feel so rough is because we don't know what our purpose is. But the thing is too, with like being intentional, it helps us to understand that we have the freedom of choice. God has given us a free will. So at every single moment, we're making choices. And sometimes we don't feel like it. Sometimes we feel like I have to do this or this is pulling me in this direction and that's doing that. But ultimately, we're making choices because you don't have to do nothing. You could sit down and do nothing and never get up. You know what I mean? I mean, obviously, you got to eat all that. But even in that, you're getting up, choosing to go do that. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's like, as we really begin to acknowledge that, wait a second, there's power in that. I have the power to choose what I'm going to do in any given moment. Then you can begin to become very intentional about that. And as you're intentional about those choices, then that means that you're moving with purpose because I'm choosing what I want to do next on purpose. I'm making a conscious effort. I'm utilizing the power that I have in my choices on purpose. And as you do that, then it's like nothing really can throw you off your game because, like you gave the example of, there was a car accident. You can see the opportunity in it and choose to use it as an opportunity for something good. You can choose to use it as an opportunity for growth. And as you're being intentional and choosing what you desire on purpose, it
Mhm.
allows you to start to align your choices with the direction that you want to go. And then you begin to feel on purpose, because I know for myself, I'm at a point, and I don't want to say nothing shakes me up because that's not true. But I'm very, very aware that I have the power of choice. So I'm not making no haphazard random choices. Something will happen,
Mhm.
it'll throw me off, and I'm like, all right, well, right now I'm gonna choose to sit down for 5 minutes because I need to breathe through this because I'm feeling crazy. Like I feel anxious or I feel whatever have you. So that way I can get clarity. Let me sit down. But that's a conscious choice because I recognize that I'm moving with purpose. And if I start making choices from this haphazard, weird place that I'm feeling, the choice I make may not be in alignment with my purpose. So it's like I, on purpose, sit down, allow myself to get clear so that I can make another choice on purpose that's aligned with my purpose. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And it's like we have this ability to stay on purpose, to be on purpose and to stay on purpose. And it doesn't mean it's the grand purpose for the end point of our life, but it means that we are actually on purpose with who we are because we're consciously choosing the next steps that we're going to take. And as you choose something with intention, that's what it means to be on purpose. That's like if I tell you walk to the store and you do it, you're choosing it, that you're doing that on purpose. Every day you get up and go to work, you're doing that on purpose. It's not by accident. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's for us to really acknowledge that we are making choices. You are choosing things and you're doing them on purpose, whether you realize it or not. So why
Mm-hmm.
not accept that truth and start moving with purpose in your mind, telling yourself, I'm doing this on purpose because I've chosen to do it. And as you do that, you begin to feel more purposeful. You start realizing, oh, snap, I can either do this or I can do this. And you begin to strategically choose the things that serve you best and that you feel like are leading to where you want to go. So it's really about acknowledging you have the power. It's all
Mm-hmm.
in you. It's all in you. And the real purpose is for you to uncover your truth, who you really are, what you really want, and recognizing that you have the capacity to steer your life in the direction that you want it to go. Your purpose is yours and it's yours alone. Can't nobody else tell you your purpose. Granted, we meet people at different points for different reasons, and they do help oftentimes to give us guidance or maybe a word. And sometimes they don't even know it. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you had mentioned something which was so funny. I chuckled because you were talking about maybe the homeless person on the street. You were meant to meet them. In my early 20s, this was like decades ago. I had was out one night hanging out, I was going to like clubs and different parties, party hopping all the whole night long. I'll never forget this. I was drunk. It was freezing outside and I was going to go to another party, but there was like an hour I had to spare. So I'm like, all right, let me go to the store. I smoked cigarettes at that point. I'm like, let me buy a pack of cigarettes, this, that, that. I go, there's a homeless man outside the store. It's freezing outside. So I tell this homeless guy, I'm like, I'm getting a cup of coffee. Would you like a cup of coffee? Because it's extremely cold. He's like, yes, thank you so much. Whatever. I give him a cigarette. So I'm just standing there talking to him a little bit. This man tells me, he's like, okay, wherever you going, when you get there and they offer you a drink, don't take it. He's like, you got a lot of anger left in you from your daughter's father. And I'm just like, oh, okay, yeah, whatever, all right. Meanwhile, I'm a little bit drunk. Well, not a little bit, a lot at that point. And I'm just like, yeah, okay, whatever, whatever. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I leave, I go to the next place I'm going. My friend had like a table with bottle service. I start drinking more and more. I don't know what happened. I like blacked out, flipped out. They called the police on me. I woke up the next morning in the hospital psych ward, like chained down to a bed. And
See?
so that was the story of how I got arrested. That was many years ago. But the point is, that's just an example of how things are not an accident.
Nope.
That man was an angel giving me a heads up. That was on purpose. I'm here. I am going all over the place, happy go lucky, thinking, whatever, nothing matters. The point is, nothing is by accident. Had I listened, that would have caused me, I mean, that would have spared me a lot of pain and suffering. So it's like, and now you think I'll ever forget that incident? That man was there to tell me that, to warn me, and I didn't listen in my immature foolishness. But the point
Mm-hmm.
is that nothing is by accident. It's not a coincidence. There's a purpose behind it all. And it's for us to really take heed to the fact that there is a purpose so we can align with it and move with purpose,
Mm-hmm.
because there is a grand scheme of, this divine design that is intended for you to fulfill your purpose as long as we begin to align with it and move with purpose. But anyway, I'm like, after I just shared that, I'm like, man, I got some crazy stories. Woo!
Well, we're gonna have to talk about some more stuff after we get off here. But just to hear your story, that just makes me think about like the different experiences that we all go through in life. Just thinking about the darkest moments that we had from childhood on up to adulthood, the different experiences that we had that we felt like were very dark to us, or we may have experienced some type of trauma with it. It's like all that happened, that had purpose in it. Because it's like you don't know what that homeless man went through
Right.
for him to even be able to give you the insight that he had for you. So I just think about that, like as we're going on our journeys and stuff, and then we look at like the things we've been through, and we felt like, ooh, that was a dark moment for me. I don't really like sharing that. That really hurt me. I went through a lot with that, but it's like, no, you got to find the purpose in that, because what you went through, you just might can save someone else's life just by sharing your story about what you went through. So, like I said, nothing that you go through is in vain. What you probably felt ashamed about or you felt guilt about, no matter what you've done in life, there was purpose in that. You probably walked through that and went through that war, that fire, to prevent someone else from having to go through that. So that's why I ain't used to always be like this, because like you said, I don't have people in my life to try to warn me to stop doing something or not to, get myself to some type of trouble. And it wasn't until after the fact I went against the grain anyway. I learned the hard way instead of just listening to someone, and I could have saved myself, but sometimes it takes us going through, learning the hard way for us to see those things for ourselves. And then now the shoe is on our foot. It's like, now I don't went through it, so let me be that one to help someone else by sharing my story. Now we always know that just because you sharing your story, or you can try to prevent someone from going down a bad path for their life, it doesn't mean that they're always going to listen. But just know that when you're out here and you're helping people, and it's like you're saving the world, it's like you had to learn how to be your own savior. You had to learn how to be your own hero based off those experiences that you went through, because they all taught you something. They built you into the person that you are today. And it's always something. It doesn't matter how traumatic the experience was, it doesn't matter how deep it was. There is something that you could pull from that. And you just have to get to a point where you don't feel ashamed about it, because some of us look at the experiences that we have and we don't really want to talk about them, because it's like we think that we should keep that in the dark. But no, that's something that should be shed light upon, because not only will that help someone else, but it's a part of your purpose, and it'll help you to uncover just what it is in your lifetime that you should be doing when walking your path. Because I know me, with looking at a lot of the stuff that I went through that I was ashamed of, now I look back at those things and I'm just like, oh, okay, I get that. I went through that so I could be able to share what I went through, because there are some people who aren't even able to even walk a mile in your shoes. And
Mm.
what you go through, someone else, they probably wouldn't even last it going through what you went through. So you have to be grateful even for those experiences where you feel like it was bad or whether it was good, because sometimes it takes courage and it takes strength and resilience to even come back from some of the experiences that you went through. And you felt like you was probably dealt a crappy hand, but it's like, no, those were the cards that you needed to be dealt, because when nobody else gonna be able to play it out how you played it out. And that in itself had purpose, because somebody will look at you and your story and what you went through, and they'll be like, well, how did you get through that? And then that's where you come into play, and then you can teach them ways in which you got through all those experiences for yourself. So ain't nothing that you've gone through in life been in vain. Everything, even down to the most worst thing, had purpose in your life. And that's just something I want to leave the audience with before we close out.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, that was very powerful. It's like guilt and shame will block you from being able to see your purpose. So really being able to embrace that everything is happening for some better, bigger purpose will help you to let go of that stuff, because your purpose is for you to show up fully. And guilt, shame, and us not really being able to look at certain aspects of our lives makes us cower in a corner, you know? And I know even for myself, I share these stories. It took a long time and a lot of healing for me to be able to sit here and laugh about it. Like, I felt very ashamed, very guilty. And that was keeping me from my purpose, because I couldn't see my purpose because I'm too busy trying to hide these things in a closet. You
Yep.
know what I mean? So it's like now I recognize there's value in it. I get to share these things because the purpose was always to help others. And so through these experiences, I get to help people, you know. And so it's like really acknowledging everything happens for a purpose. There is nothing that about you that's too dark, too shameful, as you allow yourself to really just bring it out into the open. Not that you got to go tell everybody, but as you're able to look at it and face it and release the guilt and the shame, by accepting that there was a lesson and a blessing in it, then you can begin to more fully step into your purpose. It's all part of a bigger plan, and it's all bringing you forward and helping you to truly uncover purpose. So believe that and go forward with that knowledge. All right, well, we're a little bit over time, but I
Just a
mean,
little
I
bit.
could still keep talking and talking. Oh, my light just shut off. It was like, yep, you way over time.
Yeah, we want to thank the viewers for coming in. If you catching the playback, like we said, give us a thumbs up, like it, subscribe to the channel, leave us a comment to let us know if anything that we talked about resonated with you. And as we always say, whether you're just beginning your journey or you've been on your journey for a while, there's always room for growth and to discover yourself. Until next
Absolutely. We'll
time,
see.
y'all.
Yes. Thank you so much. And we'll catch you next time. Peace.